What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers drop another preseason game to the Golden State Warriors. We're going to break it all down. We got Eric, we got myself, we got our third preseason post-game show. One more game left until the games start counting. What can we take away from this game? We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the offense. We're going to discuss the highs and the lows of Young Hansen. We're going to discuss Donovan Clingan, who had himself a solid night. We're going to break everything down. Shaden Sharp, we got a play queued up that we really liked that we're going to share with you guys. We got a lot in tap for this post-game show. Hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday night. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I was doing well, Tori, until I started reading chat. What is up with this?
What is up with what?
Why does it have their ats now instead of their...
I was wondering that when we were live on the intro.
This is bull crap, dude.
I was wondering that when we were live on the intro.
We're not going to know who any of these people are. They're probably like regulars, so we have no idea.
I know.
Like, at Gregory Dundon, that works. But like, what about all these other people? Who the heck is everyone? Why would they switch that?
We got Nico TDC as a channel member, so I know his actual username. Let me go to his channel. I can't even tell. Yeah.
You go to a channel and it says. Yeah.
Oh, that's Tristan. That's
Tristan Klein.
That's
nice.
Tristan. Yeah, see, I don't know, man. So
why would
this is chat, this is your opportunity to start anew, I guess, because for some reason that's a thing in the live chat now. YouTube's been making a lot of changes to the streaming, so I don't like that one. Like now I gotta literally click on everybody's channel to know who I'm talking with.
Yeah, I mean, they started doing that with the comments, which is one thing. But like, yeah, why on earth would it show? That makes no sense.
I don't know, man. But yeah, let's talk some basketball with our community of @signs here that we have in the chat. Eric, what are the biggest things that stood out from this game as the Blazers lose late? The starters were much more competitive than some of the bench lineups in this one. What really stood out to you? I feel like there's 6 or 7 things that we could start off with, so I'll let you have your pick.
I thought the scoring was really balanced. Obviously, we had 6 players score over 13 points, which is good to see. And outside of Jeremy's shooting, the starters at least, I thought all shot well from 2. Now, once again, 3-point shooting, man. It's been terrible. I think it was 27% the first game, and not much better the second game. I think it was around 30%, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we shoot 9 of 43, 20.9%. And I feel like this is going to be a theme since we did not address shooting at all this offseason. And we weren't a good 3-point shooting team last year. And it doesn't appear that anyone has taken a jump or anything in the shooting regards. So I don't know how we're gonna space the floor without being able to shoot the ball. So that was one of the biggest takeaways from me, is that our continued lack of shooting. And then despite that, I still feel like Sharp had some really good moves to the basket. He's man, if he turns that corner and gets to his left, it's like almost automatic now. Mm-hmm. And so that was good to see. I thought he played well outside of the 1 for 5 from 3 and 3 for 5 from free throw. Not a good true shooting percentage, I guess, or efficiency wise, but he just has some moments that look like he's ready to break out, hopefully. Clingan, I thought, had a really, really good game, especially in the first quarter. He completely controlled the rebounds, and and also I think had like 9 points in the first quarter or something like that. Was everywhere around the rim. Had several offensive rebounds as well. But 2 for 6 free throw shooting, man. You got to shoot better than that from the line if you're getting there. And so yeah, it feels like we have a lot of room to improve, but I don't know. Like, people aren't going to just magically become better 3-point and free throw shooters during the season, right? So
Yeah.
I think this team is going to struggle if they can't hit threes and can't make free throws.
Yeah, I mean, you're relying on Jeremy Grant heavily to be the best three-point shooter on this team with the hope that he can bounce back to being the 40% three-point shooter he was the first 2 seasons in Portland. That dropped to 35% last year. He was 1 for 6 from 3 today. I have talked about this a ton leading up to the season. The biggest flaw with this roster is the lack of shooting, and everybody will look at trading Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday, but you can have role players that are shooters. This is the problem with going too all in on one identity, and this is the problem with not having enough well-balanced players. When you look at this team, especially without Tamani Kamara tonight, when you look at some of the players that are coming off the bench that are just complete non-shooters, it's a legitimate problem. If you had a bunch of shooters in the starting lineup, okay, you can bring a guy like Blake Wesley off the bench who doesn't shoot the ball well but plays some good defense and hustles and plays hard, right? But the Blazers have doubled down a little too hard, in my opinion, on defensive players that struggle to shoot the ball. And I'm tired of going into seasons trying to convince myself, Matisse Thybulle, in 11 games last year, look how well he shot. Hopefully he can be a respected three-point shooter and shoot 37, 38%. That guy's not a natural shooter. He gets left wide open and knocks down some wide open threes. Okay, that's different than having a legitimate shooter off the bench. And it's just been a minute since we've had a legitimate shooter, somebody that can spot up, run off screens, knock down threes. That guy was Anthony last year. But it can be a role player, and especially in today's day and age, shooting is not hard to find. But instead, you're bringing, in a game like this, Ryan Rupert. He only plays 6 minutes today. I'm worried that experiment is going to come to an end relatively soon. But he's not a pure shooter. He never really has been. There's some stretches where he knocks down some threes, but that's different than being a consistently reliable shooter. He's not one of those guys. Chris Murray is definitely not one of those guys. Now, he didn't shoot a single three today, but 24% from 3 last year, 45% from the free throw line. How can you have any faith in that guy being a reliable enough three-point shooter that keeps defenses honest? Blake Wesley is not that guy. He was, 29% three-point shooter last year, and in this game, 20 minutes, 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. He was a minus 19 in those 20 minutes in a game the Blazers lost by 7. Right, the lineup with him and Sissoko being another guy that is not a reliable three-point shooter. He's just a two-way, so I get it. But man, there's such a theme here that even down to your two-way forward is another athletic guy who can maybe defend somewhat that struggles to shoot. And the Blazers have too much of this archetype. Now the hope is, Young Hansen, maybe he can be a reliable three-point shooter in his rookie season. But he was 27% from 3 last year in the CBA. He was 1 for 4 today. He made a couple threes last game. I think he will eventually be a reliable shooter, but I'm not really sure he's there quite yet. He got a wide-open 3 in this game and airballed. So it's just a roster construction problem that the Blazers are going to have to figure out. With their lack of shooting, I think it puts a lot on Jeremy Grant being a really, really good three-point shooter. And in games where he's 1 for 6 from 3, it's going to really hurt. Because, Sharp, his shot has looked better, but he's going to have games like tonight where he's 1 for 5. Drew was 35% last year. Who knows what he is as a shooter when he's not shooting wide-open threes that he got in Boston. He was 0 for 4 today. Klingon made his only 3. That was cool, but when you're looking at a lineup and your best shooters are Jeremy Grant, hopefully, but he was 35% last year, and then Tumani, Denny, I like that Tamani and Denny can shoot the three ball, but they shouldn't be the best shooters in your entire rotation. So I think right now you're seeing the strengths of this roster, you're seeing the weaknesses of this roster, and that's kind of what preseason is for. And, I don't think we can sit here after postgame shows this season and just say, hey, we just didn't make shots. If you don't got enough guys that make shots, that's going to happen more often than not, and that's going to be more than just a coincidence. So that's my worry with this team right now. You have some guys individually that are looking pretty good, but I think the lack of shooting is something this team is ultimately going to have to address if they want to be truly competitive.
Yeah, Trevin does mention Tamani. Hopefully his knee injury isn't very serious and he's able to go at the beginning of the regular season, because his shot did look pretty good, as like one of the few people who actually looks like they're locked in from three so far. But do you know what Jeremy, he's taken 16 threes in preseason 3 games. Do you know how many he's made?
I saw the 503 tweet. It was like 3 for 16, or was it 2 for 16?
2 for 16.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna cut it. So I'm hopeful, like Gregory in chat, that Grant will turn it around and have a good shooting year. But man, this so far in preseason, he has not shot the ball well either, and it can kind of snowball. Like it's not like a guaranteed thing that he'll shoot well this year. So I think the problem is, like you mentioned, is like last year, right? Scoot shoots like a really high percentage for, I don't know, how long was that? Like a good 2-month stretch where he was shooting really well. Yeah. Got his 3-point percentage at one point. I believe it was up to like 38% at one point, or somewhere in there, which is good. It's good. So don't get me wrong. But like, we don't have anyone that's just like the defense always has to account for. And like the team we play tonight, Steph Curry is an extreme example, the most extreme example of all time, probably. But like, you always have to account where he is on the court. Like, you cannot leave him open, like, at all. Like, and to a lesser degree, they have now 2 big men, Al Horford and Quentin Post, who can knock down a 3. Mm-hmm. And whether they're shooting a high percentage or making them or not, it kind of changed how you play the team, how you have to guard the team, and all that kind of stuff. The Blazers do not have a single player, in my opinion, on their roster where it changes their game plan, where you have to like not get them off the 3-point line. It's almost the exact opposite. Teams are going to live with us shooting a heavy amount of threes, and collapse the paint, especially once they learn that our identity is to try and get paint touches and all that kind of stuff. So that's my worry with the offense, is that it's predicated on players getting into the paint and scoring in the paint, but defenses are going to adjust to that and realize that we don't have shooters. And I don't know how they overcome that. And this is exactly what I think both you and I were worried about all offseason with the changes to the offense, is that are they going to change enough to account for the fact that we can't just do little changes like that and hope they work out? We have to have motion and things like that. And I'm not seeing the movement off ball. Like, I still see a lot of just standing around, 4 players around the 3-point line, watching the player with the ball. Now, like a pick and roll action, sure, we have a roller to the basket or down the middle, whatever. But for the most part, the other players on the court are stationary. And outside of a couple set plays they ran, I am not seeing any sort of new wrinkles or creativeness in this offense that will lead to success or easier shots or anything like that to counteract how defenses are going to eventually play us once they realize that.
Yeah, I don't think it's wild at all to be currently worried about the Blazers being a bottom 10 offense again. Yeah. And if they're a bottom 10 offense, their defense is going to have to be like top 3 to be a legitimate playoff team. Like, It's really hard to get by with a bottom 10 offense. And we can all hope that Sharp takes off into a star, but guess what? Even if he does, this could still be a bottom 10 offense if the rest of the offense is a problem. He's not going to be like somebody that carries an offense like a Damian Lillard. I would not expect that. I hope for that. That would be great. But the Blazers really need like a Buddy Hield Malik Beasley type. I saw somebody bring up Malik Beasley's name in chat. We played Buddy Hield tonight. That's the type of guy in the past. It's like, they already have shooters in the backcourt. They already have undersized guards that don't defend. Like, those guys don't make sense on the roster. It's completely different now with the way the Blazers have constructed their roster. They desperately, desperately need a player like that, and I think it's becoming obvious this preseason. Can they get by until they can get a player like that? I don't really know, because I'm not sure how I feel about the offense so far. I think it takes time to implement an offense. I think we're seeing some flashes of good stuff, but it's not as frequent as I would hope on the third preseason game. I was hoping it would maybe look a little bit, not even further ahead, just look like they were doing a little bit more or trying a little bit more. So I wouldn't say I'm worried about what they're trying to run yet, but I don't feel optimistic at the same time. I don't really know what this offense is going to look like 10 games in, 20 games into the season. But as you said, when you don't have enough shooting, it becomes a lot harder to do anything offensively, just because you're working in a tighter space, because you can't stretch the floor. That's what floor spacing is. Having shooters space on the floor gives more room for a backdoor cut and to fit that pass into the cutter. You know what I mean? It's like the oil that makes the engine run of the offense, because you make defenders cover more ground, and that makes it easier to exploit defenses. So even if they do run good stuff, if they're struggling to shoot and they're a bottom 5 3-point shooting team in an NBA where 3-point shooting is prevalent, then it's a uphill battle to being a good enough offense to make this team legitimately competitive. They're going to really have to be a top 5 pace team. They're going to really have to use their defense to create easy opportunities going the other way. But I think it's what we saw last year. Tons of faith in the defense. The half-court offense is the worry.
Yeah, we pretty much are going to have to bully people, and that just we're going to have to find a way to create turnovers. We did get, I don't know how many fast, let me look it up. I can see I have the page open. Fast break points. We had 24 tonight, so that's good. We had several steals that led to fast break opportunities, and man, they're going to have to rely on that a lot. Yeah. I think, especially as this offense gets going. But one thing I do have a problem with in terms of, let's wait and see, it's going to take time or whatever. I'm not saying that you were definitively saying that, but they all said that they had been in Portland working on the offense like a month prior to training camp, and that they were all working really hard. The coaches were implementing it before training camp even started. So they got a huge jump start on what the coaches wanted, and they're apparently pretty much all in the gym working all of September. So I don't get why it's not looking a little better after a month and a half at least of working on it.
Yeah, it is different to execute it in a game against a team that isn't running the same stuff themselves and doesn't kind of know what to expect. It's a little different. So that's where I'll give them a little bit of leeway. But at the same time, like, these guys have been scrimmaging. These guys have had reps. So, I think...
why aren't we seeing it? Like, why aren't we seeing much action off ball?
Yeah, I feel like the principles they put in is kind of predicated on, like, on like opportunistic cutting based on where the ball is moving, but like I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing here. I don't really know why, but by opportunistic cutting, I mean, if the ball if the ball is driven, the baseline corner guy cuts baseline as the ball is driven towards the elbow type stuff, where you can also spot up. You can also just stay there. I don't know how principled their motion offense is. I don't know how strict it is. They talked about playing random. The thing is with randomness is it implies that it's not just going to be the same exact principle over and over and over again, which means that it kind of puts the onus on the players to do certain things. And if they're not taking the opportunity to, set the right off-ball screens, make the right cuts, then the result is a stagnant offense. So as a coaching staff, you got to find a way to get your players to execute the ideas of your half-court offense, of your motion, which is different than we're going to run this set and you're going to go point A to point B, set a screen, pop out, catch the ball. You have this first read and this second read. That's very linear. Good motion offenses are not linear. They flow. And the flow can be kind of random. So that's my best guess, Eric, is it's not super strict and it puts some of the onus on the players, and that's why you're seeing a lot of stagnation. And the most optimistic answer I can give you right now is that after some time, they will get these players to recognize the right opportunities better as they get some more games under their belt. That's the most optimistic way I can put it.
Hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. But I don't know if I believe that. Like, well, I think this season I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate a little bit more and kind of say what I think, but also say, maybe the other side of things. I kind of did that with the Drew trade, but like that's my guess, right? Because I could sit here and just be like, offense doesn't look good enough. This is more the same crap, like screw Chauncey. But after hearing everything they said, it's like they're definitely. I feel like there should be more. I just don't know what. I'm not going to be afraid to say I don't know what, and I'll take a guess, and we'll see what it looks like once we get into real games.
But didn't Chauncey say something to the effect of that he thought there was good movement in the first preseason game when we listened to that one?
I mean, is Chauncey not going to BS preseason post-game answers?
I don't know. But that's my concern, is that like Chauncey thinks it's like working or something and it's not, because we talked about that when we scored. I forgot how many points we scored in that first Warriors game, like 120 something.
Yeah.
But like, it feels like if we make shots and it's not, if we hit 3 threes tonight more, and we go 12 of, how many did we shoot? 43. 12 of 43 is still horrible, but then we score like 120 points, and then do they think it's the offense is where it needs to be? Because like we still only shot 30% or something. But so yeah, I really I hope you're right. I hope we're talking about this later. I don't get why you wouldn't use preseason to just be like, okay, I don't want to see anyone stand still. Just move. I don't care if it's even the right move. I just want to see you guys moving to get the flow around and get used to moving without the ball and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, that does go against a player's like natural instinct to try and space the floor, because there is a balance between like floor spacing and movement that floor spacing is really natural, right? Like if the ball's up top, I'm gonna stand out, free throw line extended on the wing, ready to shoot, or I'm gonna stand in the corner. And you see guys standing around, but they're at least trying to space the floor. But they're behind the 3-point line, right? But there's opportunities for those players to cut, which is like kind of the opposite of spacing the floor if they're kind of cutting into the paint. But if they're able to be open, then that's a great scoring opportunity. So there's a balance between floor spacing and movement. The problem is the Blazers have a lot of players that are standing still too much for my liking behind the 3-point arc that aren't floor spacers. So that's where guys like Chris Murray, guys like Blake Wesley, they have to always be looking for opportunities to cut to the rim. And Chris does about as good of a job as anybody probably at this. So it's not really a critique against him. But, yeah, there's a balance between that, and they have to figure that out. I think it's the key to their season is figuring out how to effectively score in the half court. If they can figure that out, then I think they could have a 45, 46 win season. If they don't figure that out, I think it's going to look a lot like last year. So the season rides on that. I mean, there's other important things, but it's just a general theme that's going to be, I think, the most dissected thing. Now, if they're not able to be an elite defense, then man, I would be legitimately worried. But like, it's weird going into the season. Like, man, I hope they can not be a bottom 10 offense, but I kind of expect them to be a borderline top 5 defense. And if they're, that's just the expectation now. So,
right,
it's a strange thing going into this year.
Yeah, see, I agree with you there. I'm always going to go back to the extension and the press conference that followed that, and just the whole, oh yeah, I know I need to be better and it will be better, like the offense needs to be better and all that. And so if the dude can't coach it or can't make it better, what are we doing? Like,
yeah,
it's one thing to establish an identity on defense, but you can't sit there and talk all off season about this offense and then have it not translate to the court, like we've seen so many other things of his not translate to the court in years past.
Yeah. And I mean, not all of the onus goes on Chauncey. Some of it goes on the roster construction with the lack of shooting. So it's not all on Chauncey. I'm sure Chauncey would have an easier time if he had a little bit more shooting on this roster, but I don't think that's an excuse.
Well, so this play we're going to show later.
Let's just show it now.
Okay.
Like if you're struggling in the half court, literally just find the 3 or 4 actions you like the most and just start spamming them.
Well, so leading up to this play, like 2 plays before this, we had Jeremy Grant get the ball at the like the extended elbow at the 3-point line, and all 4 players just stood around and watched him take 2 dribbles and take a contested like 15-foot jump shot that was front rim, didn't have a chance to go in, and everyone else just stood around. Other team got the ball, had like 4 rebounders, and we had no one crashing the boards. And I kept watching the offense. I'm like, dude, no one is moving. I was getting so frustrated. And then randomly the ball goes out of bounds and we set up this beautiful play that we'll show. Let's just show it first and then I'll talk about it. So Young's going to set that curl screen and Sharp gets ahead of steam and scores. This is exactly what we've been talking about for, 3 years now with Sharp? Like, he excels at these little curl screens, gets the ball, he can pull up there. And like I said earlier, once he gets to that left, he's money. Like, he had like several really nice finishes. It looked easy for him. And so it's just a really simple action. Off ball curl screen, get Sharp going downhill, get just a little bit of space between him and his defender, and he's gone. And this is something they can do all the time. And then when this guy, I think it's Horford, right? When he starts to overplay that, Young's going to be wide open for a dump off pass, um, and or a lob, and there's so many
He
other wrinkles you can do out of it.
he probably could have made the dump off pass to Young if he
Yeah,
wanted to anyway, because you have GP2 kind of try and peel back on him, but
yeah,
Young's 7'2". You got Klingon that's 7'2",
hmm
right? Like that could be a lob or a dump off pass, whatever. And I mean, even if you look at Chris Murray in this play, imagine if that's a lights out 3-point shooter
yeah.
because he's open in the corner, and that's the best 3-point look you can get. It's the shortest 3-point shot. So if you had a shooter there, I mean, those are just great options off this play. Like, here's the thing: you run it a lot, and teams will find a way to kind of counter it and try and take you out of it. But like, we should be running this probably 8 to 10 times a game,
hmm
and it feels like we run it once, maybe twice if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And in a half court offense that is kind of stagnant, this is a super simple action. You
hmm
don't even have to think about this action. It's just get Sharp the ball going downhill with space in front of him. That's what this action is.
And that's why I get frustrated. Like we don't do anything for like several possessions, and then we just run one simple curl
Yeah.
screen, and it works. And then we don't like do anything else. Like we
Yeah.
just go right back to being stagnant and not. And like you said, you can't run it all the time, or people are going to adjust or whatever. But like there's different things you can do. You can slip the screen. Um, you can like pretend like you're doing that and set a back screen instead. Um,
Yeah.
he could pop out to the 3-point line if they try to overplay him to the middle. There's so many things you can do, and it's just uh, I'm hoping we see the wrinkles eventually. But when you only run it one time in the course
Yeah.
of a game, and the rest of the time you're getting kind of frustrated with the stagnation, it does get, I don't know, like it doesn't leave me very hopeful that it's going to improve.
Do you guys remember a game in Philadelphia where Shaden Sharp cooked the Sixers? I believe it was that game he had that like crazy transition finish against Embiid. Um, it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before that because Embiid didn't play last year. So it was like 2 years ago. It was his second year, if I recall correctly. In that game, they ran back-to-back possessions with him coming off a curl, and he scored on both of them. And it was just like that should be our number one simple go-to action this year is Shaden Sharp off a freaking curl, because it's really hard to defend when you have a guy like that that's as athletic like that, finishing the way he does around the rim. The play I showed, he doesn't even beat the big off the dribble. He doesn't even beat the big off the dribble. He doesn't need to. He's just falling away from the rim with his left hand, insanely tough finish, and it just looks simple. Like how do you defend that? You really don't. So yeah, like get your best players in a position where they're strong and can take advantage. That's what your offense should be designed to do. Is get your best players in a position where they can thrive and take advantage. B, use that to open up good opportunities for your other players.
And Phoenix has had this offense predicated on the curl screen to get Booker these same
Yep.
positions. For years, Toronto had it with DeRozan. Like it is something that's shown, and especially uh, until Sharp proves that he can knock down the three consistently. I don't know why you wouldn't want him getting as many actions going to the basket or being able to pull up in the mid range as possible.
Yep. Because that's how teams are going to defend Sharp until he consistently knocks threes. Is the guy guarding him was just going to try and slip under that screen. But even then, I
Yeah.
like Sharp going into the paint with his athleticism
Mm-hmm.
compared to some of the other stuff that we see. But if Sharp is taking a step as a shooter, then that's where he pops behind the 3-point line, has a wide open 3-point shot. So you can't really take away both from him, and it's just super simple. And we've seen it work. It's not like we're saying try this, and it's something we've never seen before. We've seen it work when he's electric off curls, man. I just wish they'd run more for him and make teams actually have to think about it and adjust to it and then run some counters compared to just like we see it once or twice again. So hopefully that's the thing this year. It's like, why do we see that less? Last year, why did we see that less than we saw the pass to the wing, hand it off to somebody, then pass it back up to the top, and then that guy like runs a pick and roll? That action puts us in a better situation than Sharp coming clean off that screen? I don't think so. And the curl action's faster. You can flow it into other stuff, especially if you have good motion. I mean, we should start possessions with that curl, and if it's not there, flow into good motion, and that should be the idea of the offense. So, I mean, who can really say 3 preseason games in? But this is just what I want to see. And they're still going to struggle due to the lack of shooting, in my opinion. But I think running good stuff will give them a better chance at being hopefully around an average offense.
Well, we're talking all this stuff about, making the offense revolve around Sharp. But as Gregory Dunn says in chat, I'm guessing you're pissed when Grant starts then?
I mean, I do not want Jeremy Grant to start over Shaden Sharp. Tamani was out today, so they both got to start. I was not mad at all about Grant starting today because Tumani was out. So when healthy, Jeremy Grant should not be starting. He is not a good enough player to start on this team. He is clearly the third best forward on this team. Defensive rebounding was a problem last year. He makes that issue even worse. And Shaden Sharp is a better basketball player than him with more upside, that you can actually run stuff through him. Where Jeremy Grant, what can you run through Jeremy Grant? That's going to lead to good results. The best version of Jeremy Grant is him knocking down threes and then attacking closeouts and playing in the flow, playing off guys like Shaden Sharp. See, on this play that we shared, if it's in the middle of this game, instead of Chris Murray, that should be Jeremy Grant. And if Steph Curry there helps all the way into the paint to try and take away Sharp, he can easily make that pass to Jeremy Grant, who then needs to knock down that three. And that should be Jeremy Grant's role. Honestly, I don't hate the idea of running curls for Jeremy Grant either. Mm-hmm. This is the thing. It doesn't have to just be Sharp, man. Like, Jeremy Grant should be somebody that should actually do a decent job off of those.
Better than Edson.
Yeah, like it needs to just be a big wrinkle in our offense. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how big of a staple it is in our offense this season. But at the end of the day, Sharp's looked good this preseason. He didn't shoot the 3-ball well today, but he had been shooting it solidly. So I don't know exactly where he's going to be at as a shooter this year. I just hope that he's good enough where, if we run a curl for him, defenders aren't going under, because that opens up the paint for him. For him, we can talk about hopefully he shoots 35%, 36%. The goal is for him to shoot well enough on enough volume for defenders to respect it. That's the goal. Because it makes getting downhill, getting into the paint easier, and that's where he thrives. He doesn't need to be an elite three-point shooter. He just needs to be good enough to be respected.
Rip City has any chance we can move Grant at the deadline? I don't think they're even.
What team is paying this much money to this guy other than us?
Yeah. And honestly, if the season goes completely south and we're struggling really bad and we're tanking again, I guess maybe they look at it as an opportunity to maybe just try to find one team that's willing to give up an expiring and not have to attach too many assets for it. But I think as long as we're within earshot of the play-in, I don't, because we're not going to trade him for another forward that will help this team win games most likely.
Yeah.
So I don't know who we trade him for without then having to rely on like Chris Murray or someone like that to be part of the forward rotation, and then I don't know like how we can be good if we're relying on guys who probably aren't rotation guys. So um, I think we're kind of stuck with him for a while. Plus, we kind of need him to come off the bench because we don't really have a ton of depth, especially while Scoot's down.
Yeah. Yep. What'd you think of Klingon today? So he plays 20 minutes. He only picks up one foul. He has 15 points, 11 boards, 2 steals. Didn't get a block, but it's doesn't need a block to have a true impact as a rim protector. His body looks good, man. I like the way he's moving out there. You can tell that he's in better shape right now. So I was super excited for Klingon coming into this season. What I've seen from him so far, it's not like, I don't know. I feel like preseason is not made for a player like him. Regular season games where he plays 30 minutes and just locks down defensively is where you're really going to appreciate Donovan Klingon. But I mean, 15 points in 20 minutes with 11 boards is pretty damn solid.
Yeah, outside of the missed free throws, like I said, and there were a couple times he pulled the Young and completely bit on a 3-point pump fake from Quentin Post. But other than that, I thought he was dominant around the glass tonight. I felt like he was completely controlling the game with his rebounds, and he was presenting himself well around the hoop too. We also had some nice passes to him, but he's running the floor well. He's rolling hard. He's crashing the boards. Um, I, I was really impressed with him tonight. Outside of those two things I talked about.
Yeah, man. I think he's going to be able to play 27 to 30 minutes a game this year. I think they're going to need him to play that much.
Yeah.
Since we're on the centers, like we can talk about Young too. And I'll just say this about Young. His highs are really high and his lows are really low. Like, which is better than a lot of rookie bigs. A lot of rookie bigs just have really low moments and you don't really see the flashes yet. But like the flashes are obvious. The way he played last game, some of the moves he had. I love seeing him cook Drew Eubanks. It's beautiful. Beautiful. But, some of the moves, some of the footwork, like the pass fakes and just, the craftiness from a guy his size. Even that Euro step that he missed where Lamar Hurd was talking about, once he gets stronger, he's going to finish that. And scouts will look at that and be like, okay, that's a good move. Like, he'll start finishing that and it'll be a really impressive tool for a 7'2" big to have. Like, you're seeing the tools. The 3-point shooting, as I touched upon a little bit, like 1 for 4. He can knock down threes, but I don't think he'll be a guy that can knock down threes enough to get defenses to really respect it, or knock down threes enough to make defenses pay for not respecting it. You hear about that pick and pop, and it's nice to see him make one, but I think he's going to kind of settle in as a 30-ish% 3-point shooter, which is fine for year one. It's just not, the problem is the Blazers need a guy to space the floor. So if he could be a stretch 5 his rookie year, and maybe he will be, maybe he'll do better than I think, then that would be huge for the offense to have somebody that can bring the big away from the rim. I just think it's going to take some time to get there. Like Lamar Hurd said, just get a little stronger on some of his finishes. He had that finger roll he probably should have tried to take it strong to the rim, and he tried to bank it on the run down the middle of the floor. Like, there's going to be some weirdness to some of the shots that he tries around the rim that he's going to miss, that he's going to learn, what shots he needs to be shooting around the rim and what works and what doesn't work. There's going to be some growing pains there. Defensively, he had a nice block around the rim. He had a couple nice blocks last game. As a rim protector, against guys that like aren't super big or super athletic, I trust him if he's, kind of planted around the rim just to use his size because he's so big. The out in space thing is really rough right after airballed that three, he closed out like 7, 8 feet short of, I don't know if it was Jackson Rowe or whoever it was, and still got just blown by on the closeout. He didn't even close out close to the guy. Like, the guy could have easily shot a three, and he just gets completely blown by on the closeout, reaches, fouls. I think defending anybody that can shoot is going to be a major, major issue this year. So I love the flashes. I think against certain matchups, they can definitely play him. There's just going to be some growing pains. So it's going to be super fun to watch him play. I still don't know exactly if he's ready to help them consistently win playing big minutes yet.
Think he will though. Like,
Yeah,
play.
I without Robert Williams, I think he has to.
Yeah.
So like, I am fine putting him in a game for like 15 minutes right now.
Mm.
Where if he has rookie struggles, 15 minutes, you can shorten that leash to 10 if you need to. And you can go small if you need to, or maybe Duaparith gets a couple of minutes. Like that's the role I see for him starting the season if Robert Williams III isn't healthy. But I think it would just be much easier, I think, to trust Robert Williams to come in and like provide defense and a lob target and just be like solid, and you know what you're going to get out of Robert Williams, compared to Young, where one play he's going to look like Chinese Jokic, and then one play it's like, yep, that's a raw rookie big man.
Yeah, I will say he did do a little bit better job than he had been doing on the defensive glass tonight. Had 5 defensive rebounds. I think you should watch how Klingon attacks the ball up in the air and comes back to it. You just use that size to like elevate over everyone. But Klingon kind of like, he doesn't get too close to the hoop. He like stays a little bit away from the hoop and then goes after the ball and uses that length. And so I think Young could learn by watching him a little bit do that. Because we, especially if Grant's off the bench, man, we saw that in the second preseason game when Young and Grant came in the game, and we could not get a defensive rebound. And so I think as long as he's rebounding okay, I think you can kind of make up for his lack of defense, especially if you've got some defenders around him. And you can just kind of hide him by playing drop and just hope he doesn't get in foul trouble or make a bad read or something to lead to a wide open shot. But I think if he's rebounding and then, making some cool plays on offense, I think you can play him, get away with playing him for a little bit, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Depends on the matchup, though. Our opening night opponent is Minnesota. I do not want him guarding Nas Reed.
Yeah.
I do not want him, Nas Reed, unfortunately, will torture him. Which Nas Reed's a really good player, but that's the worst type of archetype for him to guard.
Yeah, for sure. And Gobert, I mean, you would think that's a good matchup for him, but Gobert's actually pretty physical, so I'm worried about his lack of strength, and that's something that will come in years 2 and 3 or whatever, whenever he fills out his body and stuff. But I do feel like that's a bad matchup.
Yeah. Golden State game 2, they got Quentin Post. Clippers game 3, they got Brook Lopez, who can shoot but is just slow as hell. So I think Young should be fine there. Just looking at backup centers.
They did have man, I can't remember who was in the game, but there was a point in this game tonight where I can't remember if it was Klingon or Young or both of them at some point, but Post was in the game and they had one of the forwards on him, and they had Young and Klingon guarding whoever the 4-man was for Golden State at the time. So you can maybe get away with it a little bit
if
against those teams
that shoot.
Yeah.
You know who actually would be a great matchup for Young?
Who?
DeAndre doesn't shoot threes, isn't physical.
Maybe.
I mean that pick and roll with like Luka and LeBron. If Ayton actually rolls all the way to the rim, I don't want Yang defending that. That would be pretty rough. But just as an individual matchup, you know.
You mean elite defender?
Something like
DeAndre, have you seen that?
God. I saw him block a 3-point shot, and it was like, dude, that's the hardest I've ever seen you defend a 3-point shot, and it's the preseason. Spent 2 years here and never contested a 3-point shot that hard.
I saw some Laker fans saying he's an elite defender now.
I mean, they don't know what they
I know.
are. Yeah. Yep. They're coping because he has not looked good offensively. But, like, Utah against Walker Kessler, who's our starter, but, like, Walker Kessler, Denver, they got Valanciunas off the bench. That's a good matchup for Young. If we want any chance of being like OKC, I don't know. Robert Williams is a much better matchup in that game for what OKC does than Young. So that's why I think when Robert Williams is healthy, it's just going to be much easier to play him against teams like OKC, against teams with stretch fives, against teams that like to play fast.
And yeah, the other thing is you just got to hope that he presents enough of a mismatch on the other end for some of those guys. Maybe he's tough to guard. His offense comes along quicker than possible, so you can you don't really fix the defensive issues, but you also make up for it and just kind of like just make your matchup even instead of losing it. And that might be the difference between getting away with his minutes or not.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's just, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of bigs that are big enough, I think, to kind of try and deal with him that also are, like, quick enough and it can shoot. You know what I mean? Like, Naz Reid's a little undersized, so can he punish Naz Reid? Maybe. But do I trust him punishing Naz Reid or Naz Reid punishing him more? Probably Naz Reid punishing him more. Right now, Naz Reid's not a rookie. He's a veteran at this point, and, you know, that's just kind of the nature of it. So I wouldn't want to completely shy away from these situations for him. I think it's good to challenge a young player. I think it would be good to challenge him with some tougher matchups and give him some learning experiences. It's just like, what mode are we in? Are we really trying to win every game no matter what so we can try and make a play-in or a playoffs? Or, you know, are we still focusing on development where we're willing to give him a tough matchup and maybe lose the game because of it?
Or focused on viewership.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he does raw eyeballs, man.
Yeah, and I mean, the hope is when you play him that he just has some, like, brilliant offensive plays that change the game. You know, like some of the stuff that he did in the second preseason game.
And the internet was buzzing.
Yeah, the internet was buzzing. So, you know, hopefully there's more of that. But this is about what I expected from his preseason. I honestly, that second preseason game was, I think, a little bit more than what I expected. Just some of the things that he did offensively during that run. He went on a little heater. I wasn't expecting that. So that was fun. But, yeah, I think some of the worries and some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses that I had coming out of Summer League have all been, you know, confirmed. Like, it's about what I expected in that regard. So, Denny Avdia, 15.7 boards, 3 assists in 27 minutes. He did have 5 turnovers. It's funny, he said he was trying to cut down on turnovers. He coming into the season, he did not do that in today's game, but still nice statistical production. I do like that he's producing pretty well on a per-minute basis offensively coming into the season. We talked about the last couple of years he's struggled to start the season, then came on strong the second half of the year. So the hope is that he can continue the second half of last season and the first half this year. I think in that regard, I've been happy with Denny's preseason so far.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, though, it felt really clunky. I don't know what it was, but it just like he was not. like he was just trying to force it or something, and it just was not working. He had several bad plays, and um, yeah, I'm hoping that's not like because I was like a little worried at the beginning of this game. I was like, oh, here's slow start Denny. And he kind of settled down this game, which kind of relieves a little bit of that. But yeah, I don't know if it's for sure that he's not going to struggle at the beginning of the season, but I really hope he can just hit the ground running because that's definitely something this team needs. You're muted.
Oh, I am muted. This game he had 15, 7, and 3 in 27 minutes against the Kings. He had 15, 6, and 2 in 23 minutes, right? So if you're talking about guys going to play, I think you should be playing 33 to 35 minutes a game this year. These are 20.8 rebound, 4 or 5 assist games. That's kind of my optimistic hope for him to average this season. Preseason game number 1 against the Warriors. Let me check his stat line. He was off the bench in 20 minutes, 14 points, 8 boards, 3 assists. So if you're talking about him playing 33 to 35 minutes, based on how he's producing this preseason, like he's putting up 20 and 9 and 4 numbers so far this preseason. So, turnovers, would like to clean it up a little bit more, but if he's scoring at a high clip efficiently, it excuses the turnovers more because the turnovers are kind of a byproduct of the aggressiveness, and if the aggressiveness is working out most of the time, then that's where it's like, okay, if he has a 4 turnover game, but he also has 21 points and he goes 9 for 14 from the field, like, and has 1 assist. I know people always look at assist to turnover ratio, but when you're being aggressive as a scorer, you're going to turn over the ball a little bit more as well. So that's where I can kind of stomach some of that. If he's being aggressive, I can live with the turnovers. If he's turning over the ball because he's kind of like not being decisive and making bad passes where he's not being aggressive enough looking for his own shot and has games like that, then that's where the turnovers I think hurt because it's not a byproduct of something good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Drew today. Listen, Drew. So offensively, I like some of the passes he makes. I trust him to be able to run the offense to set guys up. The scoring is such a drop off from Ant. It looks like so far he's 1 for 5 today, 0 for 1 from 3, 4 points. Last game he had a couple threes, which was good to see. I just don't know how much you can rely on him as a scorer at his age. You just hope the defense and the passing plays, especially since he's going to be the starting point guard and maybe have a little bit more responsibility than he had in Boston, setting guys up. You don't have a Jason Tatum, you don't have a Jaylen Brown here. So I like that. He was a plus 17. Well, no, that was. Oh, I'm reading the first box score. Okay, he had 7 assists. This was game 1. Today he had 6 assists, 13 points. So 6 for 12 from the field. I expect him to average around 12, 13 points per game. He played 27 minutes in this game. Was 0 for 4 from 3, so the shooting wasn't there. Had some nice drafts, had some nice plays. But I always think with guys his age, it's kind of hard to judge preseason just because I feel like they don't care. How many preseasons has he been in? 18 of them. At this point, what does he care? But nice to see some of the shots he made tonight. The 3-point shot, I'm a little worried about. I'm encouraged by his passing, and his defense, I think, will show up more in the regular season when games actually matter.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? But no, I think he's fine. I think he's shown that he can run the offense. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say 2 years ago the 3-point shot was an outlier year for him when he shot over 40%. Because the rest of his career he's been in the mid 30s. So like, I think that's the best we can expect for him. I did find it weird I know Chauncey likes to have length on Steph Curry, but like, so without Tamani in the game today, we're playing Jeremy Grant on Curry and not Drew Holiday. That does seem a little weird to me.
If he makes that decision during the regular season where Drew's in the game and he puts if he puts Grant on him and Drew on like Buddy Hield, I'm gonna lose my mind, man. Grant's the biggest problem with Grant is getting through screens. He should not be guarding the guy that's like the number one guy running off screens that just runs on a circle off a million screens all game. Just that should not be the thing. So you got Drew to guard guys like Steph. I might like Drew a little bit more against Steph than Tamani. Just with all the screens that he runs through, you know. I mean, Tamani does a great job running through screens. I don't know, but like you can start with Tamani on him, let Tamani expend his energy chasing him around, and then you can switch Drew onto him. Like that's the beauty of having defenders like that. Grant should not be in that equation. He should never be in that equation with either of those guys on the floor. Even without either of those guys on the floor, at that point, maybe you just play Blake Wesley, and we know that guy can run. So, not a fan. But, whatever. As Chauncey, I like length on the ball because it bothered me when I played. Love it.
He's proven time and time again he cannot guard the ball.
Yeah.
All it takes is one screen. Someone in chat mentioned this earlier. Part of this is the Big's fault too because we're playing drop, but Jeremy got screened when he was guarding Curry, and then was like not even in the picture as Curry pulls up for a wide open three. Like he cannot navigate screens at all. So
he can't. Yeah, I know what player you're talking about. Yeah, it's too many plays like that. If Chauncey was gifted Drew Holiday, traded Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday, and he has Drew Holiday, Tamani Kamara, and he's wasting his time putting Grant on Steph, then I think I just completely give up on everything with him because what the hell? What the hell are we doing? Like that's a yikes. That's a yikes. At that point, if he does that, I'm starting to question about like if he's watching the same game I am. At that point, so.
Mm-hmm.
Other players you want to talk about? We've talked about all the starters.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk more about your favorite player, Jeremy Grant.
No, it's fine. Not much to say.
Yeah. Chris Murray had 3 steals, had 7 boards, 2 for 4 from the field.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to say one more thing about a starter. Shaden Sharp looked really good on defense tonight. And if that's the case moving forward, I think that's probably one of the biggest positives from this game was how well he looked on the defensive end, was playing the passing lanes well, staying in front of his guy, not falling asleep, all that stuff. If he can just be a neutral defender on that end, I think we're in really good shape. If he's above average on the defensive end, then I think already elite defense could be one of the best defenses in the league. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to his defense today.
Yeah, it just looks engaged in a way that we didn't see in the past. Chauncey benched him last year, said he thought he was doing a better job of being engaged once he started starting again. And Chauncey said he thought he responded well, but I kind of question that. I think what you're seeing this preseason is better. Is like legitimate buy-in on that end. That's always been the thing with him, is just the effort and like being mentally locked in. Because there's times where you can tell he just loses focus defensively for whatever reason. So, being locked in off the ball and reading plays, I think is huge for him. That's definitely going to be something that I'm optimistically paying a lot of attention to early in the season. Is he Is he somebody that can just have a solid impact on the defense? Because if so, then he might be your best player.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I think there's two rookies from that draft class that I have not seen enough improvement from, and I know they haven't played a lot this preseason, but it just looks no different to me, Eric. Ryan Rupert and Chris Murray just look the same to me as their rookie year. Like, for pretty much, I don't really know, like...
I thought Chris did a few good things in this game today.
I mean, weren't we saying that as a rookie? Like, yeah, there's a few good things he did. You know, he got some rebounds, he got like a steal and hustled, and I made a nice cut. Like, I don't know. The thing I struggle with is like guys that struggle to shoot that also aren't athletic. That like don't really get to the rim. I don't know. I'm not gonna make this me saying the same stuff about like Chris and Rupert, but now that we're in year 3 for them. Like, it's kind of the time for them to take a step forward, or you start questioning if they're ever going to take a step forward. Right?
Yeah. I think unfortunately, when it comes to repair, man, I think it's telling that he's only playing a few minutes at the end of these games. Like if he was showing anything in practice going into his third year, I just feel like he would be getting a much more of an opportunity. So
he got more opportunity at the start of last regular season than he did in this game.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what's crazy about it.
So to me, that's troubling, especially when it's not like he has. I mean, tonight without Tamani, I mean, you know, you got your 2 starting forwards in there, but I mean, you got Chris Murray, who is our other forwards in this game. Like
Javante
Sissoko.
Is he count as a forward? He only played 2 less minutes than Rupert.
Cook's a guard, yeah. So like he's and I know Sissoko's shown some things, and I know you know, Chris Murray was a higher pick and all that, but I mean, year 3, you can't. You're not getting any looks more than those 2 guys. Like, unfortunately, I don't know if he just needs a new situation or if it's just never going to work out for him or what. But it does not look good for him that he can't get any minutes on this roster.
Javante Cook went to Mars Hill College. What is that? Was he a D2 player?
I don't know.
Mars Hill University. Interesting. I mean, he is 6'6", so he's kind of guard. You know, big guard, I guess. Kind of like Repair, but...
he doesn't look 6'6". So.
I know, he does not look like 6'6". I mean, Repair is just the same issues that are going to continue to plague him that I don't think are really going to change. It's the body. Like, I wish he was a little stronger, but he's just ground bound. Like, on a lot of his finishes, he just can't get off the ground. That's why he gets blocked so much around the rim. He's not, like, shifty. He's not bursty. Like, it doesn't accelerate, decelerate particularly well. He just doesn't really move like an NBA player. And if he could shoot, I think he would stick at the end of a roster. But just the shot, man. He shot well as a rookie, and I was hopeful, but it still looks a bit stiff. You know, it doesn't look like he really made many adjustments to it. I think he was worth the gamble where they drafted him, but I think he's just going to kind of go the route of CJ Ellaby at this point, where, 3 years, and then, was that how long CJ Ellaby was here? I don't even remember, but it's year 3. I think at the rate we're going here, this is probably going to be his last year here. I don't think he'll be brought back next year unless he really makes an impact. But, I mean, he's not even playing in a preseason game like this. So I think I'm starting to feel the same way about Chris. I don't know if they would offer him. When do they have to offer him his 4th-year extension, his 4th-year option buy? When do they have to decide on that? Isn't it soon?
I believe an extension is by...
Not an extension, just the 4th-year option of his rookie contract.
It probably says on Spot Track. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
But it's either the beginning of the regular season or it's like October 31st.
End of October,
like October, yeah.
Either way, they're going to have to decide soon.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at that last year, thinking, are they going to pick that up? And they did. Deadline 10/31, yeah. So end of October.
Would you pick up that 4th year?
If we're just talking what I want him on the team moving forward, I don't know. I do feel like it's worth it to pick it up just because of like the trade restrictions when you don't. But yeah, I don't know.
The only reason you pick it up is
fine
for
as like a bench guy, but like yeah.
So you wouldn't pick it up just for him as the player. Like, let's say his contract doesn't factor into any trades in the future. Just for him as a player, would you pick it up or not?
How much is it? Like $4 million last year?
Something like that.
5.3 million. Yeah, I'm probably not picking that up if it's not like contract.
I'm not picking that up either. That should be a shooter. That spot on the roster should be a shooter. Repair's spot on the roster should probably be a shooter. And they need to find young players that can shoot and then try and develop other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what a rookie steal in last year's draft that kind of reminds me of that is Jalen Wells. The one thing you knew he could do come into the league was like, oh, he's a small forward sized and he can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's questions about everything else. He had some really good defensive moments last year. I think it's easier to do that than it is to do the opposite. Shoot, Jalen Wells is probably a better defender than Ryan Repair. You know? Like, they were drafted around similar points.
Oh, he had some great defensive moments last year.
Yeah, it was separate drafts, but, Jalen Wells was drafted in, 38th? And Repair was drafted 43rd? Something like that. So, like a Kobe Brea would be awesome on this team. There's questions about other things he can do, but try and draft somebody that can shoot, has good positional size, can maybe play the 3, and that you have some hope that you can get other things out of. That should be the plan in the second round moving forward. Because if you could find a Jalen Wells would be great on this team, Like the shooting that they need, plus fits the defensive identity. Having that off the bench, because he would come off the bench for this team, right? You'd be one of the best bench players in the league and fit exactly what we need. He's who the Blazers get drunk and tell themselves Jeremy Grant is. But, yeah, so.
Well, we did have the 34th pick in that draft, and we gave it away.
Yep, we gave it away.
And then we gave away all the other picks in that draft.
We gave it away. I guess the one player you could say it worked out with was Tamani.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't even draft Tamani.
Mm-hmm.
They saw him shoot the ball well, look good in summer league, and they're like, yeah, now we want him. So yeah, I mean, there's no perfect science, but like, I'd rather just draft somebody that can shoot and hope he can do other things. And if he doesn't do those other things, at least he can shoot, and we need that. And we need that. I'll do a poll. Would you pick up? Chris Murray's 4th-year option? Yes or no? Because the Blazers are gonna have to decide on that in 2.5 weeks. They've probably already decided to pick it up. Let's be real, but yeah. What'd you think of Blake Wesley today?
He didn't stand out as much as he had in previous games. Obviously, he didn't make a shot, so it's not good. He did have 5 assists, but minus 19. Only outdone by City Sissoko,
Yeah.
minus 25. You know, I didn't think he was as impactful defensively as he had been the first couple games either. So yeah, it was a bit of a rough game for him.
There's only so much running around and hustling can do for you. You know what I mean? It's the offense is just not there, which we kind of knew. But 0 for 3 from 3, like, if he could shoot, he would have a spot in the rotation opening night. He might still have a spot in the rotation opening night.
Right.
But
I was gonna say.
the offense is, like, he has some nice passes, man, but can he handle pressure as a ball handler? I don't know. I'm not sure. He's probably seeing it in practice, so they probably have a better idea of that. But the lack of shooting, there's just not anything there offensively. And going into the season, it's like, do they need Blake Wesley on the floor to be a borderline elite defense with Scoot out? Nope. Don't think so. Does Blake Wesley help them not be a bottom 10 offense? Nope. If anything, he makes it more likely if he's playing legitimate minutes that they'll be a bottom 10 offense. So he's just not a player that moves the team in the right direction, but he shouldn't be looked at as that. He was kind of the last roster signing. He should be somebody that's like a break in case of emergency type guy. Which maybe you could say without Scoot Henderson that the Blazers are put in a position where they have to play him. I would just play Denny Avdia as the point guard with Drew out of the game. I would stagger those two guys and figure things out that way. But yeah, I just think with the offensive help this team needs, I don't feel particularly good about playing him opening night. And he might play. Or Caleb Love might play. Who knows?
Man, I would play Blake Wesley over Caleb Love 100 times out of 100.
Would you?
Yeah, dude.
I might play Caleb Love over Blake Wesley.
Love in this game. I mean, we talked about this. This was our concern with when we signed him. He's a shot checker, and
16 shots in 21 minutes.
Dude, he was like the Jeremy Grant of the second unit tonight. Like, he just came in and just started chucking the ball.
Yeah.
Wasn't even looking to pass or run the offense at all.
Yeah.
Just was concerned about getting the shots up.
I mean, we need guys that can get shots.
I know, but he's not like, it'd be different if he was like Anthony Simons or whatever, where he was a good enough shooter to like keep teams honest. But I mean, he can get streaky and hit a few, but overall his percentages are not good enough to warrant the way he plays.
Yep. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Is that... I don't know. But him versus Blake Wesley, I think, is a debate. For me, at least. Maybe not for the coaching staff, but your offense, you almost need somebody that you like put in the game and just pray he makes shots.
Well, Wesley has, like, it's not even close. Wesley's been the better passer in these 3 games. he's, I mean, not that much worse of a shooter, and he's by far the superior defender. So I think he just fits in with what the Blazers are doing, and I don't know.
I love Tori certified Wesley hater for even asking that question. Well, apparently I'm a certified Caleb Love hater too, so I guess equal opportunity. I don't know, because trust me, I am not just gonna put Caleb Love in this conversation. It's just like, do you need the defense of Wesley, or do you need the hopefully shot making of Caleb Love if he can make shots for a game in spot minutes? Like, which helps the team more? I mean, this is a dumb debate to have. They need Scoot. They really need Scoot. Like, if he was healthy, we wouldn't be having this debate. I think it's going to be apparent how much they miss him. Even with him not having the best season last year, like his ability to attack, his ability to have some good defensive moments, even ability to make threes. He's a better shooter than both those guys. Last year, he was a better shooter than both those guys have ever proven to be. So, how do the Blazers hold things down until Scoot can return? Because who knows when Scoot can return? It might be November 10th. It might be December 30th. Hamstrings are tricky like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you saw Drew and Sharp be able to run the offense. We know Denny can handle a little bit. I think you just got to hope that's enough for now.
I love when Trevin says dumb things in chat. I love Trevin's trolling. That's what I'm going to say. That is Trevin. Saddest Nation says, yeah, we're missing 5 legit players right now. Pretty wild when we were supposed to be healthy minus Dame. I mean, when is this team ever healthy? When are they ever healthy? I don't expect this team to be healthy for a good reason. Like, it's always something. But at least without Robert Williams, you're like, okay, we get to see Young, and that's fun, and we'll see what that looks like. Without Scoot, it's like, man, do we play a defensive player that really struggles to score and can't really shoot, or do we play a guy that thinks he can score and shoot and tries a lot and doesn't really do a good job of it, or anything else? I guess take the first thing, but we'll pull the chat. I expect the chat to be like 80% Wesley, and I would take Wesley, but I think this team is just going to be desperate for some offense. Who would you play? By the way, 71% of people said they would not pick up Chris Murray's fourth-year option. That's a crazy question. I don't have a price for that. I don't know. But 16 shots in 21 minutes is insane, dude.
What the heck is that?
What is what?
That question.
What question?
The snacking corner.
I don't know. At least Wesley won't hijack the offense. I don't know. Is the offense going to be good enough to where it's a problem if it gets hijacked? I don't know, man. I mean, we shot. What, you said 27% from 3 today?
No, I think that was the first preseason game. I think it was worse.
20.9% from 3 today.
Yeah.
The last game against the Kings, the Blazers shot 27% from 3. In game 1, they shot 33% from 3. So evened out, that's probably like what? 27% from 3 this preseason?
Yeah.
27% from 3? Can Caleb Love shoot 27% from 3 or better so that he can improve our 3-point shoot? At the end of the day, all jokes aside,
I don't know if he can.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Are your expectations lowered at all or heightened at all based off the preseason so far, Eric?
No, I think they're still relatively the same. Just I still think they're good enough to compete for a play-in. I still think they have enough pieces if Tamani's not hurt, and Scoot comes back closer to the 8-week mark. I feel like they have enough pieces, and I feel like Sharp will take a regular season jump. I feel like they're going to scrap a little bit and just grit themselves to a few wins. But yeah, I mean, we knew they weren't going to be able to shoot the ball. So, I mean, I think that was just wishful thinking that, some of the regression wasn't true, and that last year was just a bad year, and that Grant and Holiday would be better. But we knew going into the offseason they needed to address the shooting, and outside of 2 years from now, they didn't do it.
The hope is like Drew Holiday can shoot 35-36%. Right. I don't think three preseason games is going to show you where he's at as a shooter as he ages into the latter stage of his career. That Jeremy Grant remembers how to shoot the freaking ball, at least well enough to be respected and efficient from 3, 36-37%. That you have Scoot come back, solid shooter, Tamani come back, or Tamani not have a serious knee issue or anything, and he can be 37-38%. Like Denny, 3-point shots look solid so far. Sharp takes a step, and then that's the hope. I don't know who off the bench you would rely upon other than anybody else I just named to shoot threes. Is there somebody I'm forgetting?
Who all did you name again?
Tamani, Jeremy, Drew, Sharp, Scoot, Denny.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't leave many other players. There's one of the bigs shoots well. Chris Murray, I don't know. It doesn't leave anything. Matisse, says Isaiah. Yeah.
Defenses just don't respect his jumper, man. They just don't. He's a career 34%er. I don't want to trust that. He played 15 games last year. Can't look too much at that 3-point percentage. That's just a super small sample, and he doesn't shoot a ton of volume already. The year before that, he was 34.6%. The year before that, he was at 36%. The 2 years before that, 31 and 30%. Like, in an off year, he can be an average 3-point shooter. Or not an off year, in an on year. When he has it going, he can have a year where he's an average 3-point shooter, where he's shooting pretty much just wide open stationary threes. In other years, even shooting those shots, he's a below average 3-point shooter. So I don't view him as reliable.
Well, I don't think we're going to find reliable on this roster.
Why did my name change? YouTube is just showing your YouTube handle now. Yeah, so.
That's Chad Co.
Chad, got you. What's up, Chad? That's everybody from today. Anything else you want to dive into here?
No, just got one more game in 2 days, and then the season starts a week from tomorrow. So pretty fun.
Yep, season starts a week from tomorrow. I might have to figure out scheduling. I don't know. I might have to work around Mariners World Series games And the Blazers Uprise postgame show during the NBA regular season. I've never had my Mariners playing when the NBA regular season is going on because they've never made a World Series ever. But things are looking, I'll say, promising right now with the Mariners up 2-0 on the road. I'm loving my life as a Mariner fan. That's the first time I've ever said that, Eric. This is so much fun. So much freaking fun. I need the off day today. I need the off day today to like recover from the emotions and stress that goes into these baseball games for me. You know, I've just like winning these games, just in being in a great mood the rest of the night, you know, is really, really cool. It's really, really cool. So hopefully they keep the train rolling because it looks like the Dodgers are going to make it out of the NL. Screw the Dodgers, man. Screw the Dodgers. So I hopefully the Mariners can win tomorrow so that I can kind of like believe, you know, like I don't want it to be 2-1 and then stressing about game 4 because you have to win that, or then it's 2-2 and the series resets. None of that. But yeah, hopefully they can get the job done tomorrow. And if you guys want to get in on baseball, football, NBA right around the corner, hockey just started. Golf, Sleeper has picks for a ton of different sports. And you can use promo code Uprise for a 100% match up to $100. You can also get a free $20 entry. No deposit required. So if you just want to try a $20 entry and see what it's like to play on Sleeper, you can do that. Great opportunity. And just use the promo code Uprise. It helps out the channel. You get a free $20 entry. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. That's the fun of the game. Get in right in time for the NBA season. It's a win all around, especially if you win. So shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the channel this year. Can't wait for them to have NBA picks up so that we can do some stuff there because I'm really, really looking forward to that. Really, really looking forward to that.
I just had my rookie Dynasty fantasy basketball draft tonight.
Nice. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I tanked last season, so I had the number 1 pick.
Smart. So you got Cooper flag?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I might tank again this season, too.
Yeah. Oh, man. Look at Eric tanking in fantasy basketball. That's
last year was the first year of this league, and I purposely went super young, didn't draft a lot of good players or current stars or older players or whatever. So.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a strategy. It's a strat. This draft is loaded, so I wouldn't blame you if you did it again. But check out Sleeper. We'll be doing some fun stuff this season. That's right around the corner, and we'll be doing some NBA parlays here soon. Looking forward to that. We'll be live again on Thursday, so that'll be after Game 4. That'll be after Mariners Blue Jays Game 4. If the Mariners can sweep the Blue Jays, make sure you're at that stream because just make sure you're at that stream. I'll be going a little wild, okay? If the Mariners get their first World Series berth ever on that night on Thursday. Okay? So you better tune in. But we got Thursday stream, post-game, after the Blazers take on the Jazz. And then we got Monday, that'll be our prediction stream. That'll be at 9:30. And then we're into post-game shows. Marv says, who pitches next 2 games? They got George Kirby game 3. They got Luis Castillo. Former Red, Luis Castillo game 4. And, is it fun at least Luis and Gino together, your former Reds there, Eric?
I mean, yeah, that's cool.
It was funny that Gino was just like kind of a throw-in in that trade. Like kind of viewed as just a throw-in. And
Well, I mean, he wasn't really a throw-in, but we just couldn't afford to keep him.
yeah, yeah. But like they made the trade
Time
for
was
Luis Castillo and also got Gino, and then they had
Yeah.
to trade for him again this year when he was hitting crazy homers. So unfortunately, he's kind of struggled since coming back. But yeah, they got Wu hopefully lined up Game 5 if they need him, which would be great. The Blue Jays are pitching Shane Bieber Game 3 and then Max Scherzer Game 4.
Oh, he's back. I thought he was out for the season.
Nope, he's been back since June. He just has a 5.2 ERA on the season, and in the month of September, he's just washed. He's 41. Hopefully, he doesn't turn back the clock on us. Let's see. In the month of September, what was his ERA? He had a 10.2 ERA in the month of September in 4 starts. He pitched 15 innings and gave up 17 earned runs. So, yeah, we better do that to him because he's freaking 41 years old. He's not the same Max Scherzer he used to be. I mean, if we can beat Scooball twice, we can beat 41-year-old Scherzer, right? I hope. But yeah. That's what we have on tap. You can follow me on Twitter. You can see me go through all sorts of emotions on Twitter watching these games. And you can join our Discord. We'll be doing game threads again this year in our Discord. So if you want to partake in those, make sure you click the Discord link in the description box below. We'll be live again on Thursday. Anything else, Eric?
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you all. Hope you have fun watching the next 2 games, Tori, and all you Mariner fans out there. And yeah, we'll see everyone Thursday night.
Yep. Hopefully that we're partying on Thursday night. Anyway, we're out of here.
8 days till the regular season. Let's go.
8 days till the regular season. 10 days until the World Series. Fun sports time, man. Anyway, hopefully my eye will be healed by Thursday. I don't know. We're making some progress, but hopefully. Saw somebody earlier ask if I got in a fight. No, it was from playing basketball last Thursday. So just over here healing. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday night. Shout out to Sleeper. Promo code Uprise. We're out of here. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.